Hello everyone, welcome to Illuminating Astrology. In today's video about the full moon in Taurus, which occurred just a few hours ago, I want to share with you my monthly discussion about the astrological weather and the meaning of today's full moon, and also to share the spiritual energy that is coming with it. And in the last part, I want to share about the astrological weather for the month, because we have a few important events happening. Mercury is going to go retrograde in a few days. Jupiter is going to go retrograde in a few days. And Saturn, conversely, will go direct at the end of the month. So stay tuned and let's discuss all of these important things. I will start first with the mundane meaning of today's full moon. Here is a chart cast for Washington, D.C. When we are looking at the fate of a country, it is recommended to cast the lunation chart for its capital. So for Europe or Asia, it will look a little bit different. But spiritual themes will be similar for the whole world. But I'll start with the mundane themes for the United States. First of all, the lunation falls into the 6th and the 12th house. And I have to say that's an interesting combination. Usually the time of the full moon is the time when matters come to the fore, when they come to the light. But the 6th and the 12th houses are more hidden houses. The time of the full moon is generally the time of opposition between the common people and the people in authority, the moon representing the common people and the sun people in authority. So there's continuing to be opposition or brewing disagreements. And this time they seem to be focused very much on the matters related to health, resources, mundane activities like laborers and workers' everyday life. So there might be some secret disagreements or brewing disagreements about the conditions of work. However, I do like that the moon is in Taurus, which is an exalted position, which makes the moon stronger. So it might suggest that people are hoping, anticipating an improvement in their work conditions, in their healthcare as well. And because the moon is moving to Jupiter in the 8th house, that generally shows there will be some positive shifts, whether in financial sectors, in self-care, in labor laws. We'll talk about laws a little bit later. But overall, in spite of this brewing discomfort, there is some hope for improvement, for financial improvement. And the chart is actually complicated because it shows good and bad. And I also want to say that the full moon charts are not as potent, not as powerful as the eclipses or even the new moons. However, it gives us an idea for the next few weeks. And many people are concerned about the government shutdown. So I'll talk about this just in a second. Also about the finances. A lot of my subscribers are asking me to focus on the financial matters because we continue to experience the turbulence and uncertainty about that. And the full moon chart gives us some reassurance. On the one hand, the ascendant is Sagittarius, and Jupiter, ruler of the ascendant, representing people's mood and the concerns, is in the 8th house. So in addition to the working conditions and health, finances are on our mind, on the mind of people in the United States. However, it is generally a positive that Jupiter is in Cancer. Yes, there are worries, there are some turbulences, and Jupiter is slowing down to go retrograde, which will diminish or create some kind of reversals of the previous decisions, the loan rules, and so on. But overall, it is still not a bad position for acquiring wealth. So I sense that there will be time of uncertainty on the one hand, but on another hand, there may be some beneficial financial decisions. So what can be affected by Jupiter in the 8th house? Of course, all of the loan systems, interest on the loans, student loans are undergoing important change. But this next few weeks, I anticipate some improvement with those. And if we look at the government itself, it's represented by the 10th house. We see that Mercury is ruling it, and it is quite debilitated. It is stationing to go retrograde just in a few days. This is a less positive indication because it suggests the government cannot agree. It slows down even more, which in effect impacts all mercurial activities, the travel, communication, the legal system. Pretty much the whole country can be paralyzed by this shutdown. But Mercury with Mars on the ascendant suggests there will be debates. And while government is not yet able to resolve those differences, it is disposited by Jupiter in Cancer. So overall, the financial concerns, the financial health of the country is a priority. So I see both good and bad. As to when the shutdown will resolve, I really hope I'm wrong, but unfortunately, I think the entire month of November, it's going to be difficult time, because both Mercury is going to go retrograde and go retrograde until the end of November, and Saturn is retrograde until the end of November. At the end of November, they both move forward. But the next few weeks will be like this, turbulent and without the progress. And yet, the dispositor Jupiter in Cancer suggests things may get a little better. And the final notice here, Mercury and Mars on the ascendant. That does suggest not only fighting or sharp tongues in the society that people debate, that the lawyers debate, though these debates can bring to some alteration of the laws, especially laws regarding the financial matters. But another meaning of Mercury Mars is the military action. And unfortunately, that suggests a stronger desire for military action. We know that the United States was expressing some ideas about fighting Venezuela. To say it shortly, the United States will continue and will be more actively engaged in the various military operations. So it's not a peaceful position. And final thing to notice here is that Moon, the lunation, is disposited by Venus in the 11th house. That's a saving grace. That's really positive, because it suggests that many people's hopes can actually come true. In spite of the turbulence, in spite of all of this polarization that we experience, many of our hopes can come true. Overall, it suggests that women get some of their hopes fulfilled. One final note here is Saturn-Neptune in the 4th house. And in mundane astrology, these are not easy positions. With Saturn-Neptune in the 4th house, it again re-amplifies the delays for the government to make their decision, oppositions within the government itself, but more broadly, it influenced the real estate, lands, crops, and so on. So we can anticipate in the month of November, for the next couple of weeks, at least 2-3 weeks, a slowing down on the market, real estate market. It is harder to sell lands, sell real estate. It might also be not positive for the crops, and the weather might be difficult. There could be floodings or earthquakes in some areas. The weather might be cold and wet in the next few weeks. However, Jupiter is a saving grace. It is trining Saturn and Neptune from the 8th house, so it makes it a little less intense. Plus, Saturn and Venus are in mutual reception. So beneficial planets help Saturn. Another challenging part is Mercury. Mars may affect the travel. There may be accidents and travel, so be very careful when you drive or go around. So the chart shows overall different themes. Some are challenging and some are more positive. However, let's look at it from a more spiritual point of view. Because the moon is in Taurus, it suggests we need more stability, more balance and more stability. Again, the previous lunation set up a tone for what this one brings to forefront for the country and for the people. Now I'm focused more on the people. The previous lunation was in Libra, and in my previous videos I was talking about the need for balance, the need for justice, the need for cooperating with each other. Right now we're shifting to Taurus. The full moon in Taurus suggests, again, stability, preserving our assets, especially health and energy. It's very important for each person to preserve their assets. Focusing on the simple things, resting, eating, enjoying the nature are important. So it is about preservation of one's important resources. Maybe more globally, it's important to preserve the resources. And again, spiritually, it's about stability, maintaining this stability, because many of us might be challenged and shifted, in a different direction. The opposition of the sun and moon often suggests a tug of war. So focusing on the inner stability, on spiritual stability, especially via the connection with earth, the resources, Gaia, the mother nature. Find time to connect with nature, to connect with earth, even in meditation or as you walk outside. And the Sabian symbol for the moon is children playing, shells gathering and children playing. We are starting the season of the holidays, so it's very important to focus on the laughter, on the joy, on playfulness in spite of the turbulent times that we're living through. Also, we want to avoid rush speech. We want to avoid words that we later regret. And if this energy comes out, perhaps some remediation can be done, an apology, right, or discussion. We're called to speak both from the heart, but to speak with compassion, with empathy. From the financial point of view, I think we all need to focus on preservation and not to be afraid when things slow down, to have faith that with the right approach, with the right reasoning, we can make things work. With Venus in the 11th house, it suggests an importance of social connection, friendships, politeness, gathering together, festivities. And it also could indicate some positive hopes or wishes are coming true. It might even mean breakthroughs in art and creativity, and we can enjoy it also with friends. So we can discover beauty of things in nature and in the arts and social interactions. Of course, the importance of compassion is there, of sharing is there. As we're being frugal, sharing for the less fortunate ones is also the call of the season. So these are my thoughts of today's full moon in Taurus. And in spite of this tug of war energy, I feel that the energy that is coming through is reassuring. We can have faith, we can be stable, we can get things better. So these are my thoughts about today's full moon in Taurus. Focus on being grounded. Let me know in the comments how you experience the full moon. Do you notice any disruption in travels or communication with other people? There is certainly a reason to be hopeful and to maintain balance as we live through these turbulent times. And if you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and also let me in the comments how you're influenced by the full moon. Thank you very much. Stay healthy, stay balanced, stay grounded, and happy Thanksgiving season.